All right, picture this. It's Ethan's wedding day, and his bride suddenly cancels everything right. In front of the entire crowd, announcing she and his younger brother are actually true love, dropping that massive bomb, the two of them instantly elope. Together, but Ethan, not even mad. Honestly, the guy just bursts out laughing. He casually dials up his lifelong childhood rival, Serena, and on the other end of the line, her sweet voice picks up. Well, this is rare, wide. You suddenly remember to call me today. Ethan just smiles. I'm getting married today, you didn't know. Serena gives a light scoff. I already sent a wedding gift today. Don't tell me you think it was way too cheap and you purposely called to mock me. Nope, he keeps smiling. I heard you're still single, so wanna think about getting married, like today. The wedding is totally set up here, but we've got a tiny shortage of a bride before he can even finish. A sudden thud echoes on the other end. Serena frowns, asking super cautiously, Ethan, are you serious? He nods. When have I ever lied to you? Silent for a second, she suddenly bursts into total laughter. Ethan, do you know the consequences of this? From now on, every single day, I can only do one thing with you. He completely catches her drift, and a massive, happy smile spreads uncontrollably across his face. Then I'll wait for you for exactly 30 minutes. Hanging up, his best bro Carter, who is standing right next to him, pats his shoulder. Honestly, man, Serena is pretty great too. Ethan smiles, nodding. Of course she is. He chose her for no other reason than this. They've been deskmates since elementary school, 3 years in middle school, 3 in high school. They were classmates for a solid 5 years, but man, every single day they just bickered endlessly. Back then, Ethan didn't get why she always opposed him, until he got into a car crash and saw her recklessly rushing over to save him, completely ignoring the danger. That's when everything clicked. Right at this exact moment, a knock on the door interrupts his thoughts. The wedding MC asks, Mr. Ethan, is the bride ready? The ceremony is about to begin. He smiles and replies, give it another 30 minutes. He firmly believes that Serena would never break her promise. 20 minutes later, his childhood rival appears at the door perfectly on time. Ethan stares in absolute shock. She is wearing a custom high-end gown, every single detail styled perfectly, right down to her hair. Honestly, you and I might suspect she planned this for a really long time, but only one item on her stands out to him. Super ordinary watch on her wrist. He remembers clearly this was the birthday gift he gave her back in 11th grade. He can't believe she kept it all this time, spotting the shock and awe in his eyes. Serena raises a satisfied eyebrow. Did Olivia run away, so you finally remembered to call me, or have you been thirsting over my beauty for a really long time, just waiting for today? Ethan just cracks up. Come on, Serena, my stats aren't too bad either, right? Since you showed up, you should thank me for curing your allergy to men. Serena is clearly amused by his teasing. What phobia? Wasn't that just a rumor you totally made up? From day one, she was that girl. Perfect social skills, absolutely top tier grades every room she walked into. The gorgeous, untouchable valedictorian. Back in high school, every guy secretly wanted her, but one time, after she teased Ethan, he purposely spread a wild rumor that Serena was absolutely terrified of men. Because of that, up until this very moment, she never had a real boyfriend, not even holding hands. Serena frowned and asked him, do you know how many amazing guys I lost just because of your stupid little rumor? Ethan just raised an eyebrow. But hey, you have a husband now, you don't even have to deal with the annoying dating phases anymore. Serena placed a finger on her lips with a soft chuckle. Sounds like a deal. Right then, the host called out to them, all right, newlyweds, the main event is about to begin. Ethan offered his arm. Serena naturally slid her hand right over it. Her grip was super tight, making all the leftover anxiety in his chest slowly fade away. Serena looked at him and asked, by suddenly swapping the bride at the altar, are your parents really going to be okay? He calmly Replied, as long as I get hitched, I secure the company shares from my grandpa. By marrying me, you get your own massive piece of the pie, and what's yours is mine. Eventually, I will be the one calling all the shots in my family. Serena just stared at him, her eyes locking onto his totally confident smirk. For a brief second, Ethan saw the familiar shadow of that stubborn teenage girl. From way back then, the one who never ever backed down. Honestly, this was all because his actual fiancée, Olivia, bilayed. Otherwise, no matter how he schemed, he never would have snagged this golden opportunity. Now, when it was time for the couple to hit the stage, you and I can bet that seeing the bride suddenly swapped left both families with absolutely priceless looks on their faces. Total shock. Grandma Winston's expression, especially, turned completely dark. Olivia's mom was completely stunned, frantically calling her missing daughter, but the phone kept giving a dead, busy signal. She dialed the assistant instead, only to find out Olivia never even planned to show up today in the first place, all because of some guy named Hugo. Mrs. Winston went totally pale with absolute rage. Right at the exact moment the bride and groom were about to swap rings, Grandma Winston furiously whispered to Mrs. Winston, "Have you reached your precious daughter yet?" Mrs. Winston dropped her head and mumbled, "She is not coming. She is busy filming." Mia, Olivia's little sister, stood there totally speechless for a second before blurting out, "Did she seriously just elope? Now this is some top-tier drama." Figuring out the whole mess, Grandma Winston stood completely frozen in place. Thanks to her high-class pride, she tried her absolute hardest to swallow her anger from exploding right then and there, but her eyes gave everything away. In the end, she could only look at Ethan on stage with massive regret. She loved him like her own grandson, always believing their two families would finally merge through this marriage, but who could have predicted it blowing up like this? Then Mia started panicking. "Grandma, what do we do? Ethan is marrying someone else. He is not gonna be my brother-in-law anymore." Grandma Winston let out a heavy, defeated sigh. "No matter what, today is Ethan's wedding. All right, jump into the drama. They had to stay. Nobody wanted to make Ethan lose face." On stage, rings were exchanged. He gently held Serena's hand. She rarely looked at him with such soft, gentle eyes. "Ethan, I have no parents nor any annoying relatives to deal with. Marrying me, you skip a whole lot of headaches. But I need to ask you one last time. Marriage isn't a joke, have you actually thought this through? I have a terrible temper and I love bullying you. You already know that." Ethan just stared at her, totally surprised but a truly sincere smile formed on his lips. He meant it. Sure, swapping the bride right at the wedding was super wild to process, but these guests, high society elites, completely sharp-minded. Nobody in the room was dumb enough to gossip out loud. Instead, they just clapped happily, blessing the new couple. Once the wedding finally ended, because of the absolute chaotic drama, Ethan couldn't return to his family's home right away. Just as he was about to apologize to Serena, she totally caught him off guard. She took the initiative and brought him straight to her place. She didn't even mention that she had already ordered someone to deep clean and prep the house the night before. Why? Well, the answer is simple. Serena already guessed Olivia was never coming back, and wow, her normally cold, empty mansion literally transformed into a perfectly decorated, stunning bridal suite, completely covered in balloons and traditional double happiness decorations. Ethan raised an eyebrow at her, his eyes full of deep suspicion. "When did you prep all this, or was this your master plan all along?" Serena just snorted, a brilliantly bright smile lighting up her face. "It is my first time getting married. How could it be anything less than perfect?" Ethan was completely taken aback. He really thought Serena was just helping him survive a massive scandal. He never expected her to take this wedding so seriously. Honestly, way more seriously than he did, and between us, Ethan felt incredibly embarrassed. Besides slipping a ring on her finger, he hadn't actually promised her a single thing. He didn't even prep a dowry or a proper bridal suite for her. He just awkwardly scratched his head, patted his suitcase, and casually asked, "Where am I sleeping?" Tonight, Serena paused right mid-sip of her milk. Then she smiled radiantly. "Hubby, if you really don't mind, sleeping together is perfectly fine with me." Ethan just frowned slightly. These two had been bickering endlessly ever since they were in middle school. And now, suddenly, they were literally husband and wife. The whole vibe was just incredibly bizarre. Seeing the total panic in his eyes, Serena just pointed to the adjacent guest room. "Your room is right over there. I didn't know your style, so just pick whatever." Also, she quietly added in a tiny whisper, "Don't bother decorating it too much. After all, eventually, you will obediently crawl right into my bedroom. Anyway, I already arranged my own room completely to your taste." She mumbled this so softly that Ethan didn't even catch the words. "What was that?" Serena then casually changed the subject entirely. "When do we actually get the official marriage certificate?" He thought for a quick second. "Tomorrow morning." Serena just squinted her eyes and smiled, her bright eyes locking onto him. "I knew it. You definitely had a crush on me for the longest time, just waiting for the perfect day to bring me home, right?" "Right," he agreed instantly. Then she kept pushing, almost like predicting the future. "Olivia is coming back tomorrow anyway. Let's go on our honeymoon, shall we?" She clearly wanted to take him far away before Olivia returned, basically to make her cry a river out of sheer frustration. Ethan was just about to answer her when his phone suddenly rang out. He smiled. Ethan smiled apologetically. "The honeymoon has to wait," he said. "Let me finish this current project first." "All right." Worried Serena might actually get upset, he quickly added, "It should only take 2 weeks." Ethan's gentle tone made her face flush red instantly. She nodded along rapidly, without a single second of hesitation. The following morning, they woke up super early, hitting the Civil Affairs Bureau to legally register the marriage, then headed straight to their separate companies. It felt like getting their marriage certificate was just some ordinary, everyday routine. Once Ethan got back to his office, he held a meeting to finalize a big project plan. Right after his phone rang, it was his dad, Richard. "Since you and I know Richard saw that wild bride swap yesterday, he was absolutely furious. His face was looking like pure thunder. Even if Olivia ditched you, you just can't grab some random girl to marry. This whole thing is a complete circus act." "Yeah. Plus, Olivia just went looking for your brother. Hugo is literally your own biological brother. Can't you be a bit more understanding?" "Wait, Olivia who?" Ethan just played dumb. His dad was raging but tried holding it in. "Ethan, you think you are a big shot now, don't you? Daring to cause such an insane mess all by yourself. Have you legally registered the marriage with Serena yet? If not, bring her back to the main house this afternoon." Before Ethan could even answer, Richard hung up. Ethan just chuckled lightly. The old man sounded like a judge passing a heavy sentence, but Ethan honestly did not care. He dropped the phone and focused on work. It wasn't until noon, during his lunch break, that Ethan remembered the drama and called Serena over on her end. She had also just finished a meeting. Her best friend Chloe was carrying 2 fresh portions of lunch, literally singing happily as she walked right into the office. Chloe laughed and teased, "Serena, working on the very first day after your wedding, aren't you worried your new hubby might get mad?" Chloe remembered that ever since Ethan's family announced his wedding with Olivia, poor Serena had basically lived at the bar, drinking herself halfway to the grave. Back then, Chloe totally roasted Serena for acting like a coward, liking Ethan but lacking the actual guts to pursue him. But get this, last night at the club, Serena suddenly got that unexpected call from Ethan. The loud, chaotic room instantly went dead silent, just from Serena flashing a lethal glare. After hanging up, she stood up calmly, patted her chest with pure, absolute confidence, and proudly declared, "This lady is officially off to get married." Then she straight up ditched her friends, leaving them completely stunned and staring in shock. Now, Chloe just patted Serena's shoulder and joked, "You finally managed to bag your new husband. Aren't you going to take Some time off to spark up the romance. Aren't you terrified that Olivia might wake up and steal Ethan right back? Serena just played with her phone, debating whether she should call Ethan or not. Hearing this, she smirked, looking smug. My husband is super sophisticated and totally understanding. A single girl like you wouldn't ever understand. Try not to be jealous. Chloe took massive emotional damage. She snapped back angrily. Shoving your cute romance down my throat is one thing, but personal attacks? Seriously. Then Chloe dropped an absolute critical hit. You rushed into a wedding yesterday, sure, but have you even secured the actual marriage certificate with him yet? Serena frowned just slightly, looking like those words actually made perfect sense. Chloe immediately seized her chance to keep poking fun. Don't just walk around bragging that you're husband this, husband that. Be careful, if Olivia returns, your precious man might just run away. Before Chloe could even finish her teasing, her eyes snapped wide open. She stared dead at the little red booklet in Serena's hand. She absolutely shrieked. Holy crap, is that real or a fake? She instantly lunged forward, totally starstruck. Serena, let me see. I've never seen a real marriage certificate before. Serena just shot her a massive side eye, glaring with pure disdain, basically saying, does a single peasant like you even deserve to look at this? Then she casually tossed the little red book into her drawer, snapping back coldly, wanna see one? Go get married yourself. And right after that, she literally made her assistant bring over a heavy padlock right in front of Chloe's shocked face, locking that marriage certificate up tight. This way she didn't have to worry about anyone stealing it. After that, Serena nodded in total satisfaction. Keeping it locked at work meant she could take it out and admire it any time. Honestly, you and I would be speechless too. This was the first time she'd ever seen a woman guard a marriage certificate so fiercely that she actually threw a whole padlock on it. You're truly unhinged, Chloe asked curiously. When did you even get married? Serena just glanced over casually. Just this morning, still fresh off the press. Right then, Ethan's call rang out. Chloe was about to drop another sarcastic joke, but seeing Serena's completely love-struck expression, she instantly knew not to mess with that kind of romantic energy and wisely backed off. Ethan's voice came through the speaker. Are you free later this afternoon? Serena's lips curled up, eyes totally glowing. As long as you need me, I'm entirely free. Chloe practically got a cavity from all that overwhelming sugar. Ethan helplessly reminded his new wife, my dad wants to meet you. Serena just smirked, utterly confident. Piece of cake, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Ethan then added, I'll pick you up, make sure you eat a huge lunch. Dinner over there tonight won't exactly be easy to swallow. Serena fired back, totally confident. Ethan, please have a little faith in your wife. Teased by her, Ethan's mood instantly brightened up. Once she hung up, a curious Chloe squeezed right in, peeking at the screen. She asked excitedly, wait, was that your new hubby calling? Serena just nodded, turning to her assistant. Help me prep some expensive gifts for this afternoon. I need to visit the Ethan family estate. Chloe clapped excitedly. Serena, you're officially debuting as the daughter-in-law. Seriously, do not panic. Just bring out that terrifying business negotiation energy. Serena raised an eyebrow, smiling lightly. I honestly don't need you to teach me that. Meanwhile, Olivia finally woke up past 12 noon, seeing Ethan's wedding video online, paired with the brutal text, let's break up. Her brain practically short-circuited. She honestly never, ever expected in a million years that Ethan would actually dump her. Right then, Hugo stormed in, grabbed her wrist and sneered coldly. Ethan doesn't want you anymore. What is the actual point of crawling back? He swapped out his bride. Why can't you swap your groom? Olivia's beautiful eyes instantly turned to ice. Gritting her teeth, she spat, last night was a total misunderstanding. You're perfectly fine now. I'm going back to get married. Hugo clenched his jaw, furious. Do you love him that much, so much that you literally do not care that I almost died? Olivia's breathing spiked, her voice spiked in frustration. You have friends here, you have people. It Was just a minor car accident. I didn't even need to rush all the way out here, but I came anyway, ditching Ethan in a heartbeat. What more do you want? Hearing Olivia snap his name, Hugo immediately knew she was. Furious, he quickly softened his tone and apologized. I'm sorry, I was just completely panicked. I thought I would literally die without seeing you one final time. I care about you so much, I was terrified, but Olivia iced him out. Well, you've seen me now, I need to head back. Let's just drop everything regarding last night. Total misunderstanding. With that cold brush off, she quickly pulled out her phone to call Ethan. Dead end, no connection. Having her assistant try calling did absolutely nothing. Olivia saw red, finally realizing Ethan had totally blocked them. Desperate, she dialed Ethan's best friend Carter. Carter just tossed some brutal sarcasm right in her face and hung up. Olivia was boiling, but had zero choice but heading back. Now watch this pivot. At 4 p.m., Ethan rolled up to Serena's company exactly on the dot. Once she slid inside, Ethan gave a gentle reminder. Since my mom passed away, Grandpa is my biggest supporter, so if he ends up making things tough for you today, please just bear with it. Serena slightly shifted her long legs. Wrapped in silk stockings, closer to Ethan, she flashed a soft smile, looking perfectly like the ultimate devoted wife. Hubby, we are officially married now. Your grandpa is my grandpa too. There's no need to even worry about bearing it. Ethan felt entirely touched, stealing a few quick glances at her stunning legs. Honestly, maybe she was completely exhausted from the workday, because right after buckling in, Serena fell totally asleep. Ethan purposefully slowed the car down so she could actually rest. Only when they finally pulled into the family's massive driveway did he softly wake her. We made it, catching that sudden flash of nerves on Serena's face. The corners of Ethan's mouth curled up. Stepping out of the ride, he grabbed her hand and led her inside. Feeling her palm getting slightly sweaty, he quickly reassured her. We are legally married, don't even worry. Serena swallowed hard, softly patting her chest right where a photo of their marriage certificate sat, even though the real document was securely locked inside her office. She kept a picture of it everywhere. Her lips quietly whispered, legally married, and with that she followed Ethan straight through the giant family doors. Inside the room, there were already a whole crowd waiting in the living room. His dad, his grandpa, and wildly enough, even Olivia's grandma, old Mrs. Lincoln. You and I totally didn't expect that. Still, Ethan stepped up to greet the room one by one. Serena played it perfectly polite, following his lead and respectfully bowing to everyone. Instantly, all eyes locked onto their tightly interlocked fingers. The room's entire vibe shifted immediately. Ethan let go of Serena's hand, stepped right up to old Mrs. Lincoln, and admitted with heavy guilt, Grandma Lincoln, I am incredibly sorry. I didn't warn you first about yesterday's absolute disaster. But old Mrs. Lincoln's eyes just looked incredibly sad and full of regret. She grabbed Ethan's hand, her voice shaking with heavy guilt. It is our family that completely wronged you, Ethan. You don't need to apologize. We failed. I only want you to find true happiness. I already heard all about yesterday. That was entirely Olivia's fault. I have to apologize on her selfish behalf. Old Mrs. Lincoln let out a heavy sigh. I am making zero excuses for Olivia. I completely failed raising her, causing you to suffer so much pain. I am truly sorry. After seeing Mrs. Lincoln off, Serena and our boy Ethan followed his grandfather right into the study. Despite his age, the old man was sharp. Standing there, he gave off this massive aura of authority, intimidating everyone without even raising his voice. His sharp eyes carefully studied Serena. He gave a calm nod. You look exactly like that old geezer, your grandfather. You and I know her grandfather actually passed away back in 7th grade. Back in the day, Ethan's grandfather and hers bickered constantly, but honestly, they secretly respected each other a lot. It was just a huge pity her grandfather died so early. Otherwise, the person marrying our main character would definitely never have been Olivia. The old man continued, I do not care about past Drama, let the past go, now that you are officially married to Ethan. I hope you two build a good life. Serena nodded obediently. Do not worry. Grandpa, I will. Ethan was absolutely shocked. She had already drafted a will, leaving every single asset to him. Hearing this, Ethan completely froze up. His grandfather just waved it off. No need for all that. Serena looked right at Ethan. Her eyes were full of absolute love. Grandpa, Ethan is the man I love most. I will do absolutely everything to treat him right. The old man nodded, asked Ethan about his job, and finally, when a phone call interrupted, the couple held hands and walked downstairs. By the next morning, Serena was getting ready. Ethan just sat down on the living room sofa, directly facing his father. The guy was watching the news. Ethan softly called out. His dad gave a simple grunt, then started talking. Hugo got into a nasty car crash. Did you know? Ethan nodded, totally expressionless. I know. His father seemed to fully understand why it happened. He hesitated for a few tense seconds before speaking. The crash this time was extremely serious. Olivia is his sister-in-law. It is only right that she goes to visit him. Do not take it too personally, but this whole thing with you and Serena, Ethan, are you serious? Ethan replied completely unfazed. I know you give all your love to Hugo. I am not even angry. I just find it totally meaningless. His dad went quiet, then finally asked, do you think marriage is some kind of joke? We all know Ethan is dead serious. The old man seemed to remember his own marriage, staring at Ethan's cold expression, trying to dig up an excuse. Ethan, your mother and I. Ethan shut him down instantly, his tone calm, his eyes totally dead. Ever since Mom passed away, I figured it all out. Dad, the massive mistakes you made should never have fallen on a woman. My mother's tragic death was entirely on you, Dad. Sure, technically you are still my father, but you are definitely not the man I respect anymore. The second you chose to betray my mother and me, you lost that privilege forever. His father looked incredibly powerless, standing there in front of Ethan. Ultimately, he stayed dead silent. Honestly, thank goodness, because the maid quickly announced that dinner was served. Once they finished eating, by the time Ethan and Serena finally left, it was pitch black outside. He glanced at Serena, sitting quietly in the passenger seat, and just had to ask, you look super happy. Is it seriously just because Grandpa held back on scolding you? Now, Serena had zero public scandals, but she never played by the rules. Honestly, it would be completely expected if his grandfather hated her. Serena's eyes sparkled with pure mischief, a tiny smirk tugging at her lips. I will only tell this to my dearest hubby. Ethan just chuckled. Am I not already your legal husband? Serena casually. All right, we're back. You still owe me a kiss, Serena teases. Ethan helplessly raises an eyebrow. Serena, I am driving, he warns. Keep looking at me and I won't be able to focus. Blushing hard, Serena whispers, then let's make up for that. Kiss at home, okay? But before she even finishes her sentence, Ethan suddenly slams on the brakes. Looking up, he spots a silhouette standing dead center in front of the headlights. Ethan frowns deeply. He turns his head to check on Serena. She tilts her head, totally chill. If you need to go, go. He gently pinches her soft cheek. I will make things crystal clear with her and come straight back. Okay, she gives a soft little hum of agreement. Ethan pushes open the car door and steps outside. Olivia rushes right over, gripping his arm super tightly. Her eyes are totally red. Ethan, I never agreed to this breakup. The cold autumn wind sweeps past them. Ethan just stares back quietly, without any real anger. It has only been 2 days, yet the usually stunning Olivia actually looks pretty haggard. She sighs deeply. Ethan, don't use an innocent girl to make me jealous. Ethan frowns, forcefully ripping his arm away. Olivia, I am not the type of guy to keep backup options. When you left to find Hugo, we were officially finished. You could have just told the truth and I would have immediately canceled our wedding, but no, you threw my personal pride and my entire family's dignity right into the dirt, trampling it without a second thought. Olivia freezes then Panics and explains, Hugo is your brother. He was in a car crash. Ethan laughs out of pure rage. Olivia, do not forget Hugo has friends and relatives over there. Even if he crashed, there was absolutely no reason for you to go running. Are you a doctor? What was your role? His ex-girlfriend or his future sister-in-law? Seeing that flustered, awkward look on her pale face, Ethan feels incredibly vindicated. Look, it is not like you forgot exactly how Hugo became my brother. I don't hate the guy, but I absolutely will never accept someone who caused my mother's death. Olivia stammers nervously. She was not killed by him. Ethan pauses for a heavy second, then bursts out laughing, but there is no warmth in that cold smile. So that is what you always believed. You and my father are exactly the same, totally on a different path from me. We were never meant to walk the same road. I have always known her death was tied to them. Honestly, if you wanted me, you should have shown respect, instead of staying so completely tangled up with him at the worst possible moment. But hey, Olivia, it is not like I cannot survive without you. That sentence, that he could live without her, hits Olivia like a brutal punch, leaving her spinning. A massive, hollow space feels like it has been violently ripped open inside her chest. The freezing wind rushes in, chilling her to the bone. Her pale lips tremble. Ethan, you completely misunderstood. This was my fault. I should never have left you in the dark. Come with me now. Let's go finish our wedding. Ethan just stares at her with frozen eyes, basically seeing right through her very soul. No, Olivia, you will never truly grasp how much you broke me. I can stomach you and Hugo together, but the one thing I refuse to accept is you dragging me to the altar while still holding onto Hugo behind my back on the other. How can one heart love two guys? It is absolutely disgusting. Suddenly, Serena's voice rings out from behind. You were the one who let go first, Olivia, so you must accept the hard truth. He is done waiting, and honestly, we love it. Watch this. Serena quickly glides over to Ethan's side, linking her arm through his, staring at Olivia provocatively. Olivia's eyes darken, her brows furrowing instantly. Serena, you totally took advantage of a tough situation to just wedge yourself in, and now you dare lecture me. Serena's eyes instantly turn ice cold as she sneers back. Speaking of taking advantage of a difficult situation, tell me, didn't you personally create this perfect setup for me? Honestly, I should really be thanking you. Serena's gaze is pure defiance. The atmosphere grows dangerously heavy, giving Ethan a massive headache. He grips Serena's hand tightly, intertwining their fingers together, and lowers his head to whisper, let's go home early. I'm a bit sleepy. Serena tilts her head slightly toward Olivia, flashing a brutally mocking smile, and then she opens the car door, ushering Ethan right into the passenger seat. Serena maintains the ultimate winner's posture, holding her head up high as she completely ignores Olivia. Pure panic hits Olivia. She lunges at Ethan's window, frowning hard as she whispers, Ethan, have you thought this through? If you leave with her right now, we are truly finished. Ethan calmly rolls the window up, driving away. Olivia cannot believe it. Just because of one single mistake, she has lost the man she loves the most. Watching his car disappear into the distance, she slumps down onto the curb. Her heart feels entirely hollowed out and broken. On the drive back, Serena and Ethan have a mutual understanding. No mentioning Olivia. Now, Ethan had lived alone for a long time. When times were tough, he learned how to cook for himself. Eventually, he realized the whole cooking process was actually very relaxing, making it a solid daily habit. The very next morning, when Serena wakes up, Ethan has already finished his morning jog and prepared a massive breakfast. Seeing a table completely full of food, Serena, who never had the habit of eating breakfast, sits down and slowly enjoys the meal with Ethan. The next 2 times she wakes up late, seeing an empty dining table, she naturally assumes Ethan had stopped preparing breakfast for her. She feels slightly disappointed, but then completely unexpectedly, when she hops in his car, Ethan hands her a cute little thermos box. Serena stares at it with those big, beautiful, questioning eyes. What is this? Ethan simply explains. Breakfast, the corners of Serena's lips immediately curl upward into a faint, but incredibly sweet smile. Did my hubby make this just for me? She asks with a lazy yet super confident smirk. Ethan purposely teases her back. It's just leftovers from my breakfast this morning. Serena chokes on her words, looking a little bit exasperated. But holding that lunchbox tight, her mood absolutely soars anyway when she enters the elevator and spots her assistant Lily eating a plain steamed bun. Serena raises an eyebrow. Lily holds up her fried bun and asks, "Boss Serena, have you eaten breakfast yet?" Serena chuckles lightly, proudly holding up her Doraemon thermos. "Box, no need. My husband already made a loving breakfast for me." Hearing that massive flex, Lily immediately starts kissing up. Boss Serena is so incredibly mighty, married for just a few days and you already got Boss Ethan catering to your every need. Serena casually finishes her breakfast and then heads into the office with Ethan. Seeing her take out that amazing food, Lily expresses total admiration, feeling like the stuff she just swallowed was absolute garbage. She casually snaps a quick picture and sends it straight to Chloe. Yep, less than a minute later, Chloe calls asking playfully, "Sister Serena, can I please get a taste of my brother-in-law's cooking?" Serena laughed out loud. "Want to eat? Go find your own husband." Chloe was completely speechless. "So what if you're married now? Literally a few days ago, you were single lady exactly like me." Serena just smiled brightly. "Having a husband is actually pretty great. Now watch this." The day Ethan and Serena returned from the family estate, Grandpa gave Ethan 15% of the shares, Serena 10%, and Hugo 5%. Over the past 2 days, Ethan processed all the transfer documents and then officially handed Serena her huge portion, but Serena completely refused to accept them, handing them right back to him. Ethan was honestly surprised. "Why won't you accept what Grandpa gave you?" Serena just leaned back against the sofa in this lazy pose, smiling as she said, "I'm your wife." Ethan blinked. "Didn't you say it yourself? What's mine is yours. Hey, look at this, I'm giving it all to you." Ethan awkwardly rubbed his neck. "I was just joking that day." Serena immediately dropped her smile. "I'm being completely serious. Once I get married, I never think about divorce, let alone these shares, even if I casually handed my entire company right over to you, I wouldn't have any objections." Ethan smiled, bitterly looking right at her. "Serena, do you ever regret picking me? I'm honestly pretty boring guy, terrible at romance." Serena chuckled softly. "It's totally fine as long as I understand you. Not only do I get it, I can teach you." Ethan stayed totally silent, still pushing those shares back to Serena. Later, leaving the company, as our MC was about to get in his car, he ran straight into Hugo, waiting in the parking lot. Hugo was sitting there in a wheelchair, looking sickly pale, but he still forced this pathetic smile. Ethan frowned, staring him down for a second. "Didn't this guy just get into a car crash? Shouldn't he be in a hospital bed? Why is he here?" Hugo smiled faintly. "I heard you and Olivia broke up. I was worried you might misunderstand, so I came to explain things. You and I both know the phrasing of broke up was super manipulative, trying to make Ethan look like the toxic one." Ethan just let out a laugh, leaning coolly against his car door and said casually, "I'll give you exactly 5 minutes." Hugo froze up. He had just said that for show, never expecting Ethan to actually listen to his garbage. "Back then, Olivia and I had this ambiguous phase, then we had a small fight and she confessed all her feelings to you, basically just using you as a rebound. I'm sorry, I really shouldn't have gotten tangled up with her in the first place, but this crazy car accident happened so suddenly. I was completely panicked, couldn't find anyone else, so I'm sorry, I didn't know she was about to marry you." Ethan quietly watched this guy put on his ridiculous act and then fired back. "You claim Olivia saw me as a rebound, so did she know that?" Hearing this total shutdown, Hugo's face stiffened and he quickly changed the subject. "I didn't expect things to end up this way. Can you please forgive Olivia? I can see she's completely devastated. It truly breaks my heart." No, Ethan frowned. His tone absolute ice. Hugo, you and I aren't nearly close enough for this. I don't care about the messy drama between you and Olivia. You want me to forgive her. What right do you have to beg me? The right of being the illegitimate son of the other. Woman, Hugo's face instantly drained of color. He probably didn't expect our MC to be so brutally honest. He lowered his head, grinding his teeth together. I know I can't appease your anger at all. I'll do literally whatever you want me to do. Ethan lowered his eyes, his voice bone-chilling. Even if I told you to go die. Right at that moment, Olivia's voice rang out from behind. Ethan. He felt a massive headache coming on, rubbing his temples, when Ethan looks up, and we catch a glimpse of that faint, helpless smile on Hugo's face. Classic Hugo. Years later, he's still playing those toxic, manipulative mind games. Olivia rushes over. She glares right past Hugo with pure annoyance, completely ignoring him to look straight at Ethan instead. Her gaze is absolutely burning, but her tone sounds super cautious. Ethan, can I treat you to a meal? See, after going home that night, her mom and grandma absolutely blasted her. That was the very moment she finally realized how bad she messed up. Ethan just laughs, a cold, mocking sound. He turns, pops the car door and slams it shut. One smooth motion, zero hesitation. He doesn't even spare her a single glance. Olivia tries to chase after him, but Hugo stops her cold. Ethan won't look back, just give it up right now. Olivia doesn't even turn around. She just stands there in dead silence for a few seconds, then she snaps. I only visited you after the accident, not because I care. I wanted everything between us fully finished once and for all, but I never expected you to play dirty, slipping sleeping pills into my water. Hugo panics, desperately explaining. I swear I didn't know you two we're getting married. Olivia slowly turns her head, sneering with absolute ice. No, my assistant sent Ethan the message. Why did you intercept it? Hugo goes pale, looking utterly pained. No words left. Olivia grits her teeth. Ethan was absolutely right. My hesitation gave you the perfect chance to wedge yourself between us. You claimed Ethan was always so cold and cruel. But was he really? I won't judge your family drama, but you absolutely shouldn't have schemed against Ethan. He's your older brother, and he should have been my husband. Olivia shakes her head, eyes filled with such deep, bitter helplessness and regret. Seeing everything ruined like this, are you finally satisfied now? Hugo just grips his wheelchair armrests tightly, staring up at the empty sky, completely silent. Meanwhile, 4 days into Ethan and Serena's brand new marriage. Serena has a business trip. Ethan actually helps pack her luggage. Now they aren't sharing a room yet, but you and I can feel the house's vibe shifting. They grew up as childhood friends, so this sudden marriage still feels pretty awkward, but honestly, give it some time and they'll end up sharing a bed eventually. Right later, Ethan knocks on her door. Serena had just finished a shower. She opens it up, wearing absolutely nothing but a single, simple bath towel. Ethan's eyes instantly twitch. He completely fails to stop himself from looking. Serena leans against the doorframe, flashing a playful little smile. What's up? His face burns red hot. Ethan just blurts out, I'm hungry. Serena catches his stare, dropping her voice into a whisper. Are you sure it's that kind of hungry? He wants the floor to swallow him alive. Ethan spins around fast. I just came to see if you were hungry. Serena totally lends into teasing him. Honestly, seeing you now, I'm feeling incredibly hungry. Ethan shoots her an exasperated glare. Be serious, what do you want to eat? Serena stands up straight. That smile says absolutely everything. Can I eat you instead? Ethan is stunned. His face turns bright red as he storms away in total panic. Eat my foot. Behind him, Serena's clear, ringing laughter echoes down the hall. Every single note hits Ethan right in the heart, making his cheeks burn even hotter. He practically sprints right into the kitchen. Let's watch our MC finish packing. He walks into the kitchen, bringing out a bowl of steaming tomato egg noodles, golden eggs over a bed of pristine white noodles topped with a quick sprinkle of green onions. Serena's appetite immediately feels A massive surge, she grabs her chopsticks. Zero hesitation, she dives right in. She remembers running away from home back in 10th grade. Ethan took her in. And the comfort food he made for her back then, this exact same bowl of tomato egg noodle soup. After he left, she tried countless restaurants, but absolutely nowhere could replicate his specific flavor. Serena grips her chopsticks tightly, feeling the nostalgia, quickly finishing the entire bowl in front of her. Right at midnight, Serena sets off on her business trip. The very next morning, Ethan wakes up to find a sticky note she left on the dining table downstairs. The handwriting is just as elegant as back in high school. It reads, heading on a trip for a week. Don't miss me too much. If you really can't stand it, call me 24/7, always ready to chat and eat. After breakfast, Ethan quickly packs his stuff up and heads straight to the company. After work, he gets a call from his best friend, Carter, inviting him out for dinner. Arriving at the reserved restaurant, Ethan just sits right down across from him. Seeing Carter looking completely gloomy and frowning, Ethan jokes, "You invited me out, but you look miserable." Carter hesitates for a quick moment and slides over a photo. He says carefully, "Ethan, look at this, but don't get mad." Ethan glances at it. A picture of Olivia and Hugo looking totally intimate together. In the shot, Hugo had clearly fallen over, and Olivia was gently helping him into his wheelchair. Hugo used to be a pretty famous singer in the music industry with a solid fan base. As soon as this pic leaked, the media immediately speculated that those two had finally broken through the barrier, intending to go public with their relationship. Ethan just smiles, handing the photo right back, his tone completely unfazed. "Why would I be mad? I'm a married man." Carter smiles in total satisfaction, asking, "Ethan, how is Serena treating you? Back in school, you two were like fire and water, but honestly, Serena is a genuinely good person. If that crazy incident hadn't happened so suddenly, there wouldn't even be room for Olivia." Just mentioning Olivia makes Carter visibly angry. Ethan just laughs. "All right, don't be mad anymore, let's just eat." After finishing up, Ethan looks over at Carter, who is staring off into the distance. Following his gaze, Ethan spots a very familiar car parked by the side of the road. Hugo sits in a wheelchair, clearly talking to someone right inside the car. Carter frowns, unable to hide his total disgust. Wait, isn't Hugo supposed to be locked in a hospital? Why is he wheeling around outside? Don't tell me he's faking his injury. Seeing Carter roll up his sleeves, ready to rush over and pick a brutal fight, Ethan quickly pulls him back. "Let's go. Whether he's faking it or not has nothing to do with us." That sentence carries some deep hidden meaning. Under the dim streetlights, even from 7 or 8 meters away, Ethan can clearly see exactly who is in that car. Carter sneers coldly. "Yeah, looks like quite a few people care about him." Carter's voice echoes a bit too loud. The person in the car hears it and immediately looks up in Ethan's direction. The smile on Olivia's lips completely freezes. Panic sets in. She shoves the door open, sprinting straight towards him. "Ethan," Olivia calls out to him. Naturally, our guy doesn't even turn around, but she didn't quit, dodging through heavy traffic, running completely breathless until she stood directly in front of Ethan. Carter watched him with serious concern. Ethan just smiled back, reassuring him. "Ethan, please, just listen to my explanation," saying that. Olivia's burning gaze locked onto him. Ethan looked straight through her, calmly staring at Hugo across the street. Hugo glared right back, his eyes full of deep resentment. Ethan chuckled softly. "No need." His freezing attitude completely shocked Olivia. "Back when they dated, you and I know Ethan wasn't exactly thrilled, but he was never this icy." Now, a massive, bottomless abyss seemed to separate them entirely. She moved her lips, desperate to say something, but suddenly Ethan's mobile phone buzzed loud, a voice message from Serena. He meant to switch it to text mode, but his hand slipped. Oops, he accidentally blasted it on full speaker. "I've been landed for 17 hours now, and 0 texts asking how I am. Just use me and toss me aside, huh?" Her voice holding a teasing complaint. Echoed loud and clear. Ethan's face burned red. Why say stuff that sounded so incredibly easily misunderstood? Behind him, Carter started snickering. Ethan felt absolutely, unbelievably, incredibly embarrassed. He swore he would absolutely never, ever listen to Serena's random voice messages around people again. This woman's mouth seriously had zero filter. Wild. No, we didn't do anything last night. I just cooked her some noodles. But the way she spoke made it sound like they did something totally restricted to VIP members. Ethan tried keeping his cool, explaining really fast, I only cooked noodles for you last night. Don't talk absolute nonsense. Aren't you on a business trip? Serena let out a deep and almost kept going, but then Olivia suddenly called his name from behind. Ethan. Serena caught that instantly. She asked, it's this late and you're still out? Ethan glanced at Carter, casually replying, I just finished dinner with Carter. Serena chuckled. Guess Olivia is losing her touch, can't even keep her husband inside at this hour. Ethan grumbled. Internally, how did she know so much about losing one's touch anyway? Just then, as if reading his mind, Serena lowered her voice completely. I don't know how he performs, but as for my performance, you will just have to try it out yourself. Ethan's face turned beet red, completely tongue-tied. He had zero clue what to say. Sensing his embarrassment, Serena chuckled softly. All right, I'll stop teasing you. I have a meeting, go home early. He softly replied, yeah, and hung up. By this time, Olivia had run right up to his face, her eyes full of total agony. Ethan, do you really like her now? Then what were our 2 years together? Ethan was stunned. He completely didn't expect her to play the victim card right now. He just frowned, looking straight at her, his voice turning deadly strict. When you chose to abandon me and humiliate me, did you ever actually consider what those 2 years were? Olivia's face went pale. Her voice dropped, her entire posture looking completely defeated. Ethan, I'm sorry. I never knew things would turn out like this. Either. Ethan put his phone away, glancing at Hugo, whose lips were tightly pursed. You and I know what's coming. Ethan's lips curled into a smirk. Olivia, you never loved me that much anyway. Otherwise, you never would have hesitated between me and Hugo. His face showed zero emotion. His voice was soft but carried a heavy sense of absolute brutal finality. Honestly, when Grandpa suggested an arranged marriage with you, I didn't refuse. At the time, I thought you weren't too bad, but Ethan doesn't hold back. Right now, you don't even compare to a single strand of Serena's hair, so keep your distance. Honestly, just looking at you right now makes me totally nauseous. Olivia presses her lips together, staying absolutely silent. Inside her heart, it feels like a jagged knife carving out a massive, bleeding wound, spilling out and leaving this agonizing emptiness. Ethan, is there really no hope for us anymore? Not even one tiny chance? Her voice sinks. She doesn't even dare lift her head, terrified of the cold emotion in his eyes. She knows just one look from him would plunge her right into an abyss of despair. The ultra-proud Olivia, who never once showed weakness to any guy, is now reduced to this miserable state. Ethan just sneers, cold mockery flashing through his eyes. Between you and me, Olivia just looks completely pathetic now. When you took Hugo's call and walked out, we were totally done. I have a wife now. I don't want her getting the wrong idea, so keep your distance. Suddenly, a totally helpless voice rings out. It's Hugo. Maybe he's absolutely terrified that Olivia might actually run off with Ethan, so he panics. He violently shoves his wheelchair forward, but unexpectedly hits a rock right in the road. The whole wheelchair just aggressively flips over the dirt. Olivia shoots a glance at Ethan. He totally catches the pity flashing in her eyes and lets out this brutal, cold laugh. Carter smirks, watching Olivia with serious meaning. Miss Olivia, your sweet little brother just wiped out. Aren't you gonna help him up? Lots of cars out tonight. A tragic accident could so easily happen. Olivia rips her gaze away and looks right back at Ethan. I already cut ties with him. Ethan just indifferently replies, oh. He turns his back and walks off with Carter. Olivia desperately wants to chase Ethan, but Hugo's absolutely miserable screams keep Echoing from behind, freezing her in her tracks. Furious and totally frustrated, she stands stuck. Right there, all she can do is blink as she watches him walk away. After saying goodbye to Carter, our guy Ethan heads home. Fresh out the shower, he grabs his phone to check it. 11 at night. Serena has to be done with work by now, thinking about that cute complaining voice message she sent earlier, the corners of his mouth can't help but curl into a smile. Back in school, Serena always loved pushing back against him. Even now, totally married, she hasn't changed one bit. Old habits die hard, but stick with me here. They're actually husband and wife now, spending the absolute rest of their lives together. Ethan figures he should probably do the polite husband thing and check in. He texts her back at the hotel yet. Meanwhile, Serena, right in the middle of a huge meeting, glances at her lit screen, seeing his familiar little avatar pop up. Her heart actually skips a beat. She quickly types back, "Not done yet." Ethan shoots her helpless emoji and adds, "Your husband is already insanely rich. What are you even working so hard for?" Seeing his message, Serena is legit surprised. Why is her hubby suddenly acting all sweet? The corner of Ethan's lips curl up again as he types, "I'm just terrified you'll work yourself to death, and I won't inherit any of your assets." And yeah, just like that, they playfully bicker back and forth for a few sentences. Before saying goodnight, Serena's laugh keeps echoing right in his ears. She truly is an absolute piece of work, but thanks to her teasing, his whole gloomy mood from bumping into Olivia totally vanishes. Jump ahead a few busy days at the company. Ethan gets a call from his dad, "Come home for dinner tonight." The tone cold, like a boss barking orders at an employee without one single shred of warmth. Ethan just sighs. Ethan stays completely silent. He's used to this blatant favoritism by now, both biological sons. But the father's attitude, worlds apart. The old man always felt Hugo suffered way too much out in the real world, so he wanted to compensate him double. But honestly, did anyone ever compensate Ethan? He lost his mother so young, and his only living parent treated him like ice. If not for family ties, Ethan probably wouldn't even call the guy dad, so you and I watch him drag his feet straight home. No matter how many excuses he tries making to stall, in the end, he still has to go back inside. Otherwise, just more endless nagging from the old man. Soon as Ethan reaches the front door, he hears his father's gentle tone. He doesn't even need to think twice about who's in there. "Dad, I am planning a huge concert." 3 months, Hugo's whiny voice rings out. The dad frowns hard. "Your leg hasn't healed yet." "What concert? The entertainment industry is way too exhausting. Your older brother is managing the family company perfectly. Once that leg recovers, follow Ethan straight to the office and work there." Hey dad." The father and Hugo turn around, hearing Ethan. Seeing our MC walk right in, awkwardness flashes across the father's face, but he quickly forces a totally calm expression. "Ethan, look, you're the older brother here. Helping Hugo out is just the right thing to do." Ethan shows zero emotion, calmly stating his major completely mismatches. He's absolutely not suited for the company. Father immediately looks displeased and argues right back. "Hugo is your younger brother. The entertainment industry is pure muddy water. With his soft personality, he's not cut out to struggle there." Ethan just smiles faintly, looking at his dad. "When I first took over this company, those corporate foxes wanted to swallow me whole, too. But I survived it all. He's a grown adult now. He needs to finally take responsibility for his own choices." Ethan's words are brutally harsh, making Hugo completely lose face. Hugo looks right up at him, hastily explaining away, "Don't be mad, brother. Dad is just worried about me. I'm honestly not interested in the company. Being a famous singer is enough for me." Ethan bursts out laughing. "I'm not your brother, kid. You went off studying abroad for years with absolutely zero actual achievements. Coming back home, you literally had to rely on some cheap scandal to grab any attention. Hugo, is this your grand result from studying abroad?" Hearing this, Hugo's fake expression shifts slightly. The dad's face immediately darkens as he loudly reprimands Ethan. Ethan, how can you possibly speak to your brother like that? He's still recovering. Ethan steps onto the stairs, calmly firing back. Since he is a patient, he should obediently stay resting in the hospital. I never begged him to come home out of respect for Grandpa. The fact I haven't taken any action against him is already a massive blessing. After dropping that bomb, Ethan couldn't care less how his dad yells after him, walking straight upstairs to find their grandpa during family dinner. The father once again brings up putting golden boy Hugo in the company. He wants to test Grandpa's actual reaction. After all, the dad is Grandpa's son, but he definitely doesn't have any solid footing inside the company. A few years back, because of major drama when Hugo and his mother randomly showed up, the dad and Grandpa had a massive falling out. Now Grandpa sits completely expressionless, looking at Hugo, asking, Hugo, what do you think? Hugo grips his chopsticks tight, his fingers subconsciously trembling. He forces a weak smile, replying, Dad is just worried I'll get bullied out there, but I still have sister Olivia protecting me. Continuing to sing shouldn't be a problem. Besides, I still have my loyal fans. If I suddenly quit the entertainment industry, wouldn't I be betraying them? The old patriarch gave a nonchalant revealing absolutely nothing. Since you clearly have zero intention of doing this, don't ever mention it again. That single sentence completely shut down Richard's plans. His face looked grim. After dinner, the father called Ethan aside. The two stepped out to the courtyard for a private chat. Richard got straight to the point. I know the old man is biased, giving you far more shares. You see it too. Without this family protecting him, Hugo will have a very brutal time out there. Right now, you hold the majority shares. Give some to Hugo. This wasn't a negotiation. It was an absolute command. But Ethan wasn't surprised at all. You and I know he saw this coming from miles away. Ethan just stared at him coldly, pronouncing every single word. I don't owe Hugo a single thing. It's my property. Why should I share it with him? Hugo has no mother. He only has me. Richard immediately played the cheap emotional card. Ethan froze for a split second, then let out a chilling, dark laugh. I don't have mother either. Have you completely forgotten how she died? I will absolutely never forgive him. Richard just sighed, his tone painfully indifferent. Your mother and I had an arranged marriage, the messy affairs of our generation. I really don't want to discuss right now. Ethan coldly fired back. You made your choice, and I have my own way of handling things. His father glared at him, his gaze sharpening, his voice dripping with anger. Do you despise him that much? He's your brother. Giving up some wealth is only right. Ethan chuckled softly, casually leaning against a nearby street lamp. A mocking, dangerous smile slowly crept into his eyes. You have plenty of property too. If you love him so much, transfer the shares in your own hands. I have absolutely no objections. Hearing that savage comeback, Richard's voice turned dark and commanding. Ethan, are you seriously refusing to obey me? Now the CEO just stared him down. I don't want to destroy our remaining dignity. If you keep pushing this, you better think carefully about the consequences, Dad. Ethan's warning carried heavy threat. Richard definitely heard the danger in his voice. His eyes turned ice cold as he barked back. Ethan, I am ordering you as a father. If you don't agree tonight, tomorrow at the company, right in front of the board members, I won't be playing nice anymore. The ultimatum was crystal clear. Either hand the shares over tonight or face a public boardroom war tomorrow. We're just getting started. The very next day, as Ethan walked into headquarters, Assistant Luke frantically handed him the board meeting files. The assistant hesitated, absolute panic in his eyes. Ethan briefly scanned through the documents, then locked eyes with his nervous assistant and asked, Is there something else? Luke replied anxiously. CEO Ethan, when I got here this morning, I saw Director Richard and several key directors in a secret meeting. It really looked like they were discussing matters concerning you. Ethan raised an eyebrow, letting out a wicked sneer. He snapped the folder shut and stood tall. Bring it on. I'll destroy whatever they throw at me. What could I possibly fear? stepping into the massive boardroom, those greedy old foxes. Immediately went dead silent. The room's temperature dropped to zero. He ordered his assistant to deliver the financial report. Once it finished, Ethan challenged them. Does anyone have any objections? Richard was the first to strike. CEO Ethan, the prime land in Chengdu project. Didn't we all agree to partner with Hai Lam earlier? So why did you just hand it over to Serena? Everyone knew about Ethan and Serena. Their romantic history was absolutely no secret. Ethan just shot an icy glare at the first person who dared to speak, his own father, and smirked. Director Richard, are you completely unaware? Hai Lam is drowning in massive scandals right now, handing them a huge project like Chengdu is a terrible move. Sure, giving it to Than Ha is also super risky, but Serena's company offered an 8% commission on the deal. Ethan's single sentence silenced the entire boardroom. Besides, he coldly reminded them this partnership was won completely fairly by Than Ha in an open bidding war. Ethan swept an icy glare across the entire room, shutting down any arguments. If you gentlemen have absolutely no further objections, this meeting is officially adjourned. With that final word, Ethan turned to walk away, but his father abruptly stood up. Richard knew exactly what would happen next, but he absolutely refused to let Hugo suffer any kind of setback. Richard stared daggers at his son's back, speaking with a cold edge. CEO Ethan, you are way too young and impulsive. You need to step back and train a bit longer. Several major shareholders, and I have all unanimously agreed that you must hand over a portion of your shares immediately. We need a proper balance of power here. Down at his side, Ethan's hand clenched into a tight fist. Pure betrayal burning in his eyes. You and I know that hurts. They were both his sons, yet Richard was publicly pressuring Ethan to surrender his shares right in front of the board, all for Hugo. On what grounds? Everything Ethan built was just going to be handed over to someone else completely. Ethan stood dead silent for a moment, turning around. His cold eyes were completely empty of emotion. He asked smoothly, Director Richard, are you really doubting my decisions right now? Ethan frowned. His dad clearly hadn't expected him to be so defiant, and you could see the hesitation. But the second Richard thought about poor Hugo stuck in a wheelchair, the favoritism in his heart completely shifted back to the golden child. CEO Ethan is too green, making reckless choices. We'll destroy this company. Look, I get where your head is at. After all, young folks are hot-headed and arrogant, but you really need to remember that every single person here has trusted their livelihoods and money in your hands alone. One single mistake from you, and everything we built washes straight down the drain. Ethan swallowed his raging anger, shooting back with ice in his voice. We're all tied to the same string here. If I'm feasting, there's absolutely no way you guys will ever go hungry. Director Richard is coming for my shares today just because he hates my ruthless management style. Or maybe, just maybe, you actually prefer Hugo's pathetic, weak-willed style. Hearing that, Richard's face instantly turned ugly. Ethan chuckled darkly, pushing further. Director Richard, you are honestly way too delusional, shoving an incompetent amateur straight into the core of this company. That is the ultimate mistake. The old man was fully determined to drag Hugo into the business, so watch how Ethan uses that exact weakness to make him crush his own foot with his own rock. Failing to break Ethan, his dad had to grit his teeth and chase him into the hall. He muttered darkly, Ethan, Hugo is your own brother. Throwing him a bone is the right thing to do. Ethan didn't even slow down, snapping back like ice. My mother only ever had one son. The last 2 times I visited that house, I made my stance perfectly clear. Who would have honestly thought? All right, Ethan never imagined the father he respected would go this far for the son of that other woman. Saying Ethan wasn't completely shattered by this massive betrayal would just be a total lie. His father actually followed Ethan into the office, watching him start his computer to work silently. The old man grew furious. He lunged right forward and forcefully Shut the computer down, he yelled out. He is your brother and he is my son too. Ethan looked up. His red eyes actually made his dad completely freeze. For a second, Ethan asked with tears welling, then what about me? He leaned right into the man's obvious guilt and kept going. I am your biological son too, I am not some random kid you just found on the street. The old man was completely speechless, a flash of pure awkwardness in his eyes, masking his deep helplessness. He heavily slumped right down onto the couch. Lowering his head, he muttered, Ethan, I really wronged Hugo's mother. Hearing that absolute garbage, Ethan felt like this was the most pathetic joke in the entire world. Director Richard, what the hell are you even saying? Are you telling me you didn't wrong my mother? Ethan's absolute rage exploded. Furious, he grabbed the cup nearby and hurled it straight at his father's feet. Cold water violently splashed everywhere, soaking the man's pants. Outside the door, Assistant Luke saw things getting extremely bad. His chest tightened, and he quickly called Serena's assistant, Lily. Honestly, their whole connection only existed because of their respective bosses. Daily updates were required, like what Ethan ate yesterday, his mood, or who he met. All those critical points went straight to Assistant Lily, who passed them to Serena. Ethan always treated Luke great, so the guy never found this spy work annoying. Anyway, this wasn't the first time Ethan's dad lost face. Here, the old man abruptly stood up, his cloudy eyes suddenly flashing with cold clarity. He glared at Ethan, completely resolute. These shares you must hand them over whether you want to or not. It is the only thing I can leave for Hugo. Ethan, whatever I owe you, I will somehow pay you back. With those exact words spoken, his father practically ran out like a monster was chasing him. Ethan totally slumped back into his chair, looking like all his energy was just gone. He shut his eyes as angry tears uncontrollably streamed down his face. This is the last time, he swore to himself, the very last time I tolerate this. Only when his wild emotions finally settled down did Assistant Luke dare to bring a fresh coffee, taking the quiet chance to clean up the office. Elsewhere, Lily walked in, carrying lunch. Right as she entered, she spotted Chloe dragging Serena, just chattering away about their dinner plans. Lily coughed politely. Sister Serena, we have a problem. Serena spun around, raising a curious eyebrow at her assistant. Lily paused for a second, then warned, things just blew up on boss Ethan's side. Before Serena could even blink, Chloe aggressively jumped up. What? Who dares to bully my awesome brother-in-law? Serena shot her a dark glare, covered Chloe's loud mouth, and signaled for Lily to keep talking. Lily spoke fast. Here is the situation. Last night, boss Ethan visited his family home, and things did not end very happily. Now watch this. Director Richard actually teamed up with shady shareholders to force boss Ethan to surrender his shares. The two of them had a massive blowout argument. Hearing this, Serena's face completely darkened, her eyes flashing pure, icy irritation. She frowned, calculated for a second, then ordered coldly, book me the earliest possible flight. Lily hesitated for 2 seconds. But you still have an important meeting tomorrow. Serena's icy tone left zero room for debate. It doesn't matter, book my return flight for tomorrow too. And just like that, she vanished. Meanwhile, Ethan had absolutely no clue his wife was already racing back to him. He really didn't want her stressing over his messy family drama, but his father was relentless today. The old man kept badgering Ethan all day, pushing him until his head spun. He hadn't even eaten. Completely drained, Ethan dragged himself to the parking lot just to breathe, staring out at the desolate rows of concrete. His chest felt just as hollow. Honestly, you and I know if Grandpa wasn't around, he'd never set foot in that toxic family estate ever again, but his own flesh and blood. His father pushed him right to the edge, just to protect Hugo, the man. Backed Ethan into a brutal corner. Didn't this blatant favoritism basically prove his affair? Back in the day, if it weren't for Grandpa's fragile health, Ethan definitely would've called a massive press conference today. He'd grill his dad in front of everyone, just to see if the man felt any shame. but suddenly, Olivia's voice echoed out. From the shadows, Ethan threw her an exhausted glare. Watching his ex approach, he panicked. He stood up fast, trying to escape to his car, but unexpectedly, he'd been sitting way too long. The second he rushed up, his entire vision went pitch black. His legs gave out, almost sending him crashing right into the pavement. Ethan. Olivia sprinted over in a total panic. He slumped against the concrete pillar, fighting to steady his spinning head and barked out, "Don't come any closer." Olivia froze dead in her tracks. Just a few steps away from him, she murmured softly, "I don't mean any harm. Please let me drive you home," watching Ethan grit his teeth in solitary agony. Her heart just shattered. Ethan leaned on the wall, panting, completely shutting her out. Taking 2 deep seconds to breathe, he clenched his jaw and forced himself toward his car, but Olivia just wouldn't drop it. She stubbornly trailed right behind him. Her trembling, pathetic voice echoed from behind. "Ethan, why would Serena just leave you here? To suffer through all this alone? Please, let me take you to the hospital right now." Okay, by the end, her voice was literally begging him. Ethan stopped dead in his tracks. Olivia rejoiced, secretly thinking she had finally moved him. She called out softly, "Ethan." He slowly turned around, but what she saw in his gaze wasn't the warmth she desperately wanted. It was just bottomless, terrifying darkness. He laughed coldly, asking her, "Olivia, do you just not understand human speech? I seriously don't want to see you." The hopeful smile on Olivia's face shattered instantly. She staggered back 2 steps, staring at Ethan in sheer shock. Pure agony flooded her wide eyes. She bit her lip until it almost bled. Tears welled up, her voice cracking painfully. "Ethan, I know I messed up so badly. What do you need me to do?" "I will do literally anything." Ethan's eyes flared with pure disgust as he ruthlessly blocked Olivia from taking another step. Hot tears spilled down her cheeks, her voice shaking wildly. "We have known each other for so many years. Are you really going to be this heartless?" Ethan just sneered indifferently, channeling his wife's icy energy. "Do you even know why I accepted your stupid confession back then? If Grandpa hadn't literally forced it, I'd never have chosen you. The simple fact that you used to mess around with Hugo was enough to cross you off permanently." Olivia went dead pale. She clearly remembered the dirty past, then stared at him with heartbroken eyes. "Ethan, did you really never like me?" Ethan chuckles. "I used to like you, but when you got tangled up endlessly with Hugo, that killed it for me. Look, I am stubborn. Once I make up my mind, even if I hit a brick wall, I never look back. I honestly dropped my grudges back then to be with you, but now genuinely never want to see you again. If you do not want me looking at you with total disgust for the rest of your life, then stop showing up in front of me. This is my absolute last shred of respect." In Ethan's past life, even though Olivia did not directly kill him, her hands were definitely dirty. He just could not forgive her. Olivia's eyes go totally red, feeling like she is being hollowed out inside. She suddenly hunches over, completely hiding her face. Tears pour right through her fingers, hitting the pavement one by one. Ethan does not even give her a second glance. He just turns around, walking straight to his car, ditching the parking lot without looking back. Olivia stands completely frozen. She clenches her fists so hard her nails dig deep into her own flesh. Blood drips right onto the pavement. Her bloodshot eyes stare straight at his fading silhouette. Suddenly, her lips twist into this crazy, sick smile. "Ethan, do not even dream of leaving me. You belong only to me." By the time Ethan actually drives home, it is pitch black. Completely exhausted, he just wants to sleep immediately. But right as he hits the sofa, a familiar voice rings out, "Hubby, why are you home so late?" Ethan jumps, suddenly seeing Serena right there. She walks closer to him, her faint signature scent drifting all around him. He looks up. The lights in the living room are not even on, only the streetlights shine in from outside. He cannot clearly see her expression, but man, he can feel her anger radiating. He asks softly, "Why are you back? Was your business trip not supposed to last way longer?" Serena reaches out and gently strokes his cheek, dropping her voice. I was afraid you were getting bullied, so I flew back just to check on you. Listening closely, he hears the hidden worry in her voice. Serena does not say anything. Else, she just quietly sits down next to Ethan and pulls him right into her. Embrace all that heavy frustration from his dad and Olivia. It slowly melts away right there in Serena's arms. He smiles, watching her. You rushed all the way back here. You probably have not even eaten yet. Right, what do you want for dinner tonight? But just that one smile from Ethan makes Serena drop every single defense. You and I know they were only apart for a few days, but to her, it honestly felt like they were separated for years. That feeling of losing him and finding him again, only to be totally terrified of losing him again, it is absolutely agonizing. Serena gulps, her intense gaze turns dark as she suddenly asks, can I be the one to take the initiative? Ethan freezes up, his face is burning. He feels lucky she cannot see exactly how flustered he is right now. Hearing absolutely zero answer, Serena's face darkens, her lips pressed together, her eyes actually holding a bit of real sorrow. He suddenly mumbles a complaint. Are you even human? All day long you never think about eating real food. You only think about eating me, even though his voice is super quiet. With the distance between them being this dangerously close, she definitely hears it. Serena stays silent for a few seconds before suddenly bursting into this loud laughter. Trust me, Serena's laugh was pure music to hear. She happily reached out, gently stroking Ethan's cheek, softly saying, all right, I'll listen. I won't eat people, so can we grab dinner now? That plane ride took forever and I am literally starving. Her voice actually had this rare, super cute, whiny edge to it. Ethan found it hilarious. He lightly patted her hand, standing up to swap out his shoes. Walking outside together, Serena locked onto his hand tightly. The night air felt pretty chilly, making her shiver, but instantly, Ethan draped his own warm coat right over her shoulders. Serena looked back at him, her eyes totally dreamy and confused. If I take your coat, won't you freeze? Those big, clear eyes, yeah. They made Ethan's whole face burn up. He smiled softly. You are. Girl, your body runs a bit colder. Saying that, Ethan's gaze naturally dropped right down to her legs. If you wear skirts in freezing weather again, I'm breaking your legs. Serena just stuck her tongue out, making a totally goofy face. Then, without skipping a beat, she snuck her hand right into Ethan's arm, quietly sharing her warmth with him. Fast forward past dinner. Back home, Ethan headed to the bathroom, running some hot water so Serena could finally take a nice, relaxing soak. But wait, Ethan suddenly realized she hadn't even brought any luggage at all, meaning she was leaving later. So what was the real point of her showing up tonight? Totally lost in thought, Ethan completely missed Serena sneaking up right behind him, catching him spacing out, her lips curled up into a sly little smirk. With the bathtub dangerously close to overflowing, she quickly warned him. Hubby, are you trying to drown me? Ethan snapped right out of it. Seeing the tub totally full, he scrambled up to shut off the faucet, but in his absolute panic, he slipped. Water sprayed straight from the shower head directly onto Serena's clothes. She wore a white button-down shirt, which was now completely drenched, clearly showing the dark outline of her lingerie underneath. Serena just stared at Ethan, following his panicked gaze right down to her chest. She raised one eyebrow, wicked little smile forming. Hubby, are you setting up a romantic couples bath for us? Ethan's face instantly went tomato red as he covered his eyes. Keep it PG. Serena chuckled softly, her voice dangerously seductive. Gently, she pulled his hands away and leaned in real close, their breath mixing perfectly. She could totally see how stiff he was. Serena wouldn't ever force him, though. She was ready to wait until the day Ethan was actually ready. Flashing another playful smile, she teased him. Still not leaving yet? Are you seriously aiming for that couple's bath with me? Ethan's entire face caught fire, even long after retreating safely back into his own room. Serena's deep chuckle just kept echoing inside his head. They had only been Apart for a few days, you see it too, right? Serena had become so incredibly irresistible. Ethan pinched his own cheeks hard, taking a few massive deep breaths. It took him forever to finally get his racing heart under control. Suddenly, the phone next to him buzzed loudly. Ethan grabbed it to check. His buddy Carter had just texted the group chat. "Ethan, is your old man causing trouble for you again?" Ethan's eyes instantly went dark. He hated dragging his friends into his toxic family drama. Before he could even reply, Carter sent another text. "Ethan, we are best brothers. If anything goes down, you tell us. Also, I just heard some wild news. Hugo is planning to hold a massive concert. Does your situation tie into that?" Ethan just thought. Ethan paused, then dropped the truth about his dad's plans. Carter, being hot-headed, instantly blew up. "Isn't that man terrified of karma?" "Ethan is his actual son, for crying out loud." Ethan just smiled faintly. "It's fine," he told them. He could handle it. He was going to sleep. Text sent. Ethan tiredly tossed his phone aside and shut his eyes. He really just wanted a quick power nap, but he ended up crashing hard without even realizing. Still totally hazy and half asleep, Ethan was violently woken up by a sharp knock at the door. Serena's anxious voice called out. It took Ethan a few solid seconds to snap back to reality. He quickly called out, "I am fine." Then, absolute silence. Out there, Serena stayed absolutely quiet. Ethan rushed to throw some clothes on, ready to open that door, but surprise, Serena was still standing right there in front of the room. She looked visibly stressed out, telling him she kept knocking but got zero response. Ethan promised her he was completely okay, then noticed. "Wait, you brought no luggage with you. Are you heading back out soon?" Serena nodded. "Yeah, I have a 6 a.m. flight tomorrow morning." Her voice was insanely soft, practically a whisper right by Ethan's ear, making his heart skip a beat. He stared right at her, visibly shaken. He finally understood the real reason she had rushed back home. To say Ethan was not touched, total lie. He could absolutely feel how deeply she cared for him. He just dropped his head down, whispering, "Serena, you honestly do not have to do all this. You treat me too well. What if one day you get sick of me and demand a divorce?" But Ethan could not finish. "Between us, you and I know." Ethan felt like he had not completely fallen in love with his wife yet, probably because he was way too used to being best friends forever. They tied the knot way too fast without even dating. He was terrified of eventually breaking her heart and ruining her feelings, so every single time he faced her intimacy, Ethan tried his absolute hardest to pull away. But hearing those insecure words, the faint smile right on Serena's lips completely froze. She stayed totally silent, just quietly stepping closer until she pulled him into a super tight hug. "Ethan, we are husband and wife now that we are married. I have never even once considered divorce." The arms holding Ethan tightened slightly, her delicate fingertips actually shaking. The corner of her lips curled up as she softly whispered, "I have dreamed of this exact scene countless times." Ethan's face went bright red. Feeling totally awkward and absolutely clueless, he hurriedly blurted out, "Why don't you sleep for a bit? I will wake you later." Serena sat down right on the edge of the bed, looking up at him. "Ethan, are you in such a rush to chase me away today?" She playfully curled her finger, demanding he come closer to her. Smiling, she asked the real question. "Did your dad make things impossible for you again?" Ethan knew she flew back purely because of this drama. Thinking it over, he firmly replied, "I will handle it myself." Serena scoffed lightly, annoyed. "How exactly are you going to fix this yourself? Those guys are a ruthless pack of old foxes teaming up against just you. They will swallow you whole until not a single bone is left." Ethan really felt like Serena was completely underestimating him. He shot back proudly, "Hey, I have my own ways of crushing those old foxes." Serena just laughed. "So what is your plan?" Ethan's face gradually turned dead serious. After thinking it over, he told her, "They want to use company shares to pressure me, so I am just going to be super patient, watch their next big move, and then counterattack them step by step. You really do not need to worry about me." Ethan looked Right at her, totally serious. You have your own stressful work too. I really do not want to drag my mess onto you. Serena lowered her gaze slightly, quietly replying. She whispers, your business has never been trouble to me. She absolutely hated it when Ethan kept his distance. Honestly, she preferred it when they bickered and debated, argued with each other just like back in high school, after chatting with Serena. For a bit, he promised to give her daily updates on his entire situation. Only then did she finally agree to go to sleep. He set her alarm, then headed straight out to the living room. By morning, Serena was already awake and fully dressed, walking downstairs. The living room lights were actually still blazing. She frowned slightly, wandering into the kitchen. There stood Ethan, wearing an apron, busy prepping food. Inside a thermos sat a perfect breakfast and a hot cup of fatigue-relieving tea. Serena just stood there leaning against the doorframe. Warmth spreading through this new home. We all know life is full of crazy, unpredictable turns, but her old teenage wish had finally become a reality. She completely thought she would never, ever get the actual chance to touch his world in this lifetime, considering their wildly different family backgrounds. But years later, with all her boss-level power, she didn't use it to force him. Instead, she took a massive gamble. Thankfully, she won big. Once Ethan finished packing up the food, he turned to see Serena right at the door. Feeling super shy, he handed the thermos straight to her with a smile. Remember to eat breakfast in the car and catch some sleep on the plane. Serena stared at him, the corners of her mouth turning up as she asked softly, Ethan, are you starting to like me? His eyes twitched, completely unsure of how to answer that. Seeing our guy tense up, Serena backed off. She just smiled lightly and said, thanks for the hard work, hubby. I'm heading out. Ethan quickly nodded, walking her out to the door. Only when she hopped into the car and drove off did he close the door, totally intending to go back to sleep. But after a disruption like that, he just couldn't close his eyes anymore. He sat right up, grabbed his diary and pulled out a photo. Looking at his old high school graduation picture, Serena wasn't there. Back in 11th grade, her family hit a massive crisis. She was forced to carry the weight of an entire falling family, facing down a bunch of greedy relatives completely alone. Ethan only knew that after years of pure suffering, Serena personally sent that entire group of terrible people straight to prison. When she hit the news again, she no longer had that soft vibe he used to know. But honestly, regardless of the past, he was with her now. Trust me, in his previous life, the way she dashed through crazy traffic to save him was forever burned into his brain. The next day, probably thanks to Serena's support, Ethan returned to his company bursting with energy. Assistant Luke knocked on his office door, handing him a hot coffee. Thinking about the guy he just bumped into outside, Luke hesitated before speaking up. CEO Ethan, earlier today, Richard actually brought Mr. Hugo to the company. Ethan's fingers, which were busy typing away at the keyboard, instantly paused. His eyes stayed completely calm, and then Luke quickly read his boss's mood and lowered his voice. I heard Mr. Hugo came here handing out invitation tickets. Ethan just raised an eyebrow, his hands still typing non-stop as he casually replied, ignore him. Do I have any meetings this afternoon? The assistant just shook his head. No, but you need to visit the construction site later this afternoon. Ethan gave a light hum, took a sip of coffee and said, good work, come with me later today. Luke just smiled, closing the file. The guest nods, too polite. CEO Ethan, I'm leaving now. Later that exact morning, a knock echoes on Ethan's door. He is swamped, so without looking up, he drops one cold word, enter. Hugo rolls his wheelchair inside, playing it calm. Ethan, got a minute? Ethan glances out the glass and spots their dad standing right. They're watching like a hawk. Hugo looks visibly anxious. Ethan just checks the watch on his wrist. His voice goes ice cold. 5 minutes. Hugo nods, pushing his wheelchair forward and speaking softly. Ethan, I don't want the shares. You really don't need to feel pressured at all. Ethan stares at him, lips curling into a smirk as he leans back in his chair. What is this act? rolling all the way down here on purpose just to say you don't want the company shares. Hugo, brilliant little trick, but if you actually don't want them, why not just tell the guy standing right outside that door? Ethan takes a sip of coffee, totally indifferent gaze, completely ignoring Hugo altogether. Besides, I was never going to give them to you anyway. Hugo's face instantly stiffens. Ethan, you don't need to act so incredibly hostile. He pauses, then continues his act. I won't inherit the company. I plan to completely retire from the entertainment industry after this concert and solely focus on preparing for marriage. He doesn't name the bride, but those two men definitely know who. Hugo watches Ethan closely, hoping to catch some big emotional reaction on his face, but Ethan gives him absolutely nothing, calmly continuing his office work. He even takes a phone call halfway through. Finally, Ethan looks up and says, with total indifference, you don't need to tell me your business. I'm not interested. I have actual work to do. Leave now. Ethan's attitude isn't exactly nice, but it isn't terrible either. Sitting right in front of Hugo, Ethan tries his absolute best to control his own emotions. Hugo's lips twitch slightly, just as he is about to open the door and leave. He suddenly turns his head back. Ethan, do you truly not like Olivia? Lately, Hugo has been constantly, obsessively following Olivia around. He watched her transform from a proud, shining heiress into a woman getting blackout drunk every single night. He even saw with his own eyes Olivia standing below Ethan's apartment building, crying, saying he wasn't wildly jealous would be a total lie. You see, he liked Olivia for years. All those past misunderstandings, deliberately orchestrated by him, just a setup to force Ethan to leave. But when Olivia found out, she didn't hesitate for 1 second before running to find Ethan. Hugo never truly possessed Olivia, but honestly, he did regret his schemes. Ethan, are you really determined to never look back? As long as Hugo stays ruthless enough, he believes he definitely has a way to win Olivia over. Ethan's eyes are full of pure mockery, his tone totally indifferent. Stop testing me. Olivia and I are completely over. Having his thoughts exposed, Hugo's face turns pale white, forcing out a highly awkward smile. He just turns around and leaves. Outside that door, their dad watches Hugo roll out. His face immediately turns completely ugly. He frowns tightly, stepping right up to push Hugo's wheelchair and softly asks, Hugo, did Ethan bully you again? Hugo shakes his head, choking back fake tears as he replies, no, Dad, I don't want the share division. Don't go confronting Ethan anymore. The dad feels a massive surge of anger, instantly starting to resent Ethan even more. He had clearly warned Ethan not to bully Hugo, yet Ethan refused to. Let us jump back in. Hugo, what did Ethan say? Hearing this, Hugo's tears immediately dropped. His eyes went totally red, voice shaking with sobs. Dad, I want to see Olivia. Ethan's dad glared, his expression turning dark. Hugo, in your current mess, you really should not see her. Translation: Olivia wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. Hugo totally knew it. Lately, he only had the courage to secretly follow her around. Seeing the guy suffer, Ethan's dad felt incredibly guilty, his heart melting. Fine, I will take you to her. Meanwhile, across town, Serena wrapped her meeting and headed back. The second she stepped inside the hotel, Chloe kicked the floor, sliding her entire chair right up into Serena's personal space. She stared at an exhausted Serena, teasing her. So spill it, was last night an absolute battlefield? Right as she said that, Serena shot her a terrifying death glare, totally ignoring the danger. Chloe leaned in way closer, dropping her voice. Serena, we have been best friends for 10 years. This is the first time you have ever stressed over a guy like this. Are you actually falling for Ethan? Serena thought her friend was talking total garbage. She snapped back, do I seem like a player here? Chloe just kept quiet. Among all their friends, only Serena remained hopelessly innocent. Even Olivia had dated around, but Serena was somehow her 20s and completely single. Hey, I am just curious, you ran back so fast last night. Was Ethan moved? Hearing that question, Serena felt pretty Annoyed, yeah right, he did not even kiss me. Thinking about that, Serena turned to Lily. Did my wonderful father-in-law go over there to make trouble for him today? Lily tried sugarcoating it, but honestly, when Mr. Hugo walked out of Ethan's office, he looked absolutely wrecked. Seems he got completely put in his place. A shocker. You and I know Chloe was totally stunned. No way, Ethan always looks so sweet. Serena gave Chloe a look of pure pity, thinking she was hopelessly naive. Whoever claimed Ethan actually had a good temper. He just cannot be bothered to yell at fools. Back in their school days, Serena had crazy verbal brawls with Ethan constantly, no matter how incredibly sharp his tongue was. Ethan was never a match for her. Lily stayed totally quiet, just choosing her words carefully. The room suddenly got super awkward. Earlier, after the meeting, Serena noticed a new message but ignored it so naturally. She looked pretty grumpy, but right then, her phone dinged loudly with a text alert. Serena glanced down. It was a message from Ethan. Sorry, I was at the job site earlier. Totally missed your text. Are you finally finished with your meeting? Do you want to crash a bit early tonight? Reading that message, the corner of Serena's mouth instantly curled into a smile. Chloe, sitting right there, got super nosy and immediately leaned over for a sneak peek, only to get shoved away by Serena. Chloe rubbed her head, whining, Serena, how old are you? Why act so incredibly shy like a teenager with a crush? Serena snorted. What do you even know? Then she immediately fired back a reply. If I hear my hubby, I will not feel tired anymore. Reading Serena's bold text, the corners of Ethan's lips curved into a smirk. He picked up his phone and called her. Serena happily snatched her phone and hurried outside. Chloe yelled right after her, Serena, where are you running off to? Serena smiled so brightly. Top secret. As soon as she stepped out the door, she instantly answered. Now let us hear Ethan's voice come. We hear a voice from the other end. Done with your meeting. Good job. Drink plenty of warm water. Serena smiles. Ethan, are you actually caring about me? Our guy stubbornly replies, yeah, I'm terrified something might happen to you in a foreign land, and I won't make it to arrange your funeral. Serena just laughs it off. Silly hubby, relax, even if I end up dead. My assets are all yours. Hearing that, Ethan chuckles. Stop talking such nonsense. You didn't sleep well last night, so make sure you rest up early tonight. Serena happily agrees like a kid getting a prize. Then Ethan asks her, when are you coming back? Serena's eyes widen. Did she hear that right? She double-checks just to be absolutely sure. Hubby, wait, are you actually missing me? But Ethan redirects. Next week is old Mrs. Lincoln's birthday. He pauses, carefully gauging Serena's reaction. Even though his past with Olivia had completely crashed and burned, old Mrs. Lincoln was always incredibly good to him. Serena's heart twinges. Her face drops a little. So, do you want to go? Ethan explains himself. Old Mrs. Lincoln practically watched me grow up. She's treated me amazingly over the years. Serena takes a very deep, heavy breath. She can't interfere with his Olivia drama, but honestly, just the thought of him seeing his ex hurts her. Things have already gotten to this point and it's still not enough. Ethan catches her vibe and softly calls out, Serena. She immediately forces a gentler tone. If you really want to go, then go. But right then, Ethan laughs out loud. I want to go with you. After hanging up, Ethan crashes on his bed. A message pops up on his phone, a cute selfie. She's lying in bed wearing a simple pair of pajamas. Blanket pulled up, flashing this sweet, gentle smile. The caption reads, listen here, hubby almighty, I am already in bed resting. Ethan just texts back, good night. He tosses the phone aside, opens his laptop, and resumes working. The East City project is totally paused until Serena physically comes back to the company to kick things off. Once she returns, those two are definitely gonna be spending way more time together, but his biggest headache right now is dealing with Olivia's grandmother's massive birthday event next week. Honestly, he could just ditch it, but old Mrs. Lincoln is aging every single year. She gets older means fewer birthdays left. Plus, the old lady always treated him like gold. Ethan can't break her heart just because his relationship with Olivia became a total disaster. Emails done, he checks the phone. It's already 11 p.m. Serena had just replied, "Good night," and after that, absolute silence. Actually, she was totally playing mind games, dropping that selfie. Just hoping for a cute reaction. Who knew our MC was as dense as a brick wall, literally just telling her to sleep. Serena is so frustrated she wants to scream, but she calms down. Don't get mad, do not get mad. I literally chose this husband myself. Waiting for his text, she eventually falls asleep. All right, jump to the next morning. Whatever Hugo whispered to Ethan's dad yesterday, it worked. Early in the meeting, the old man nitpicks every single tiny detail. No matter how chill Ethan usually is, the guy can't stop frowning. Finally, with an ice-cold expression, Ethan completely suspends the meeting. Meanwhile, massive disaster strikes the company. A senior director cooked the books, completely embezzling 50 million yuan, gone. Let's watch Ethan call the police and simultaneously ordered the finance department to audit every single account and send them to him for review. But while Ethan was working himself to the bone, things over at Olivia's house were pure chaos. For old Mrs. Lincoln's upcoming birthday, Olivia actually wanted to use the big party to see Ethan, so she begged her little sister Mia to send an invite to him, insisting Ethan had to attend the banquet. Now, Mia was the granddaughter of old Mrs. Lincoln's closest friend. Tragically, her entire family had died in a brutal accident, leaving her all alone. When she was first brought to the Winston household, she was barely 5, so the whole family raised and treated her exactly like their own blood. Mia had loved clinging to Ethan ever since she was little. When she found out her older sister and Ethan were dating, she was happier than literally anyone else. But who could have ever guessed that in the end, her sister would actually be the one to ditch the wedding? So, when Olivia made such an insane request, Mia completely rejected it. After all, she was raised single-handedly by old Mrs. Lincoln. Her looks were proper and her moral compass was rock solid. She glared at Olivia, feeling a mix of pity and anger. Her tone totally sarcastic. "Sister, Ethan is married now. What is the point of clinging to him anymore? You were the one who dumped him to chase after Hugo. When you pulled that stunt, did you ever care about his feelings? Did you consider how much awful gossip he had to face? And now you are pretending to be deeply in love. It is honestly sickening." Olivia never imagined a day would actually come when her own sister would call her sickening. Her chest felt incredibly tight, sharp pain flashing in her eyes. "Mia, just help me this one last time, please. I heard Ethan's company is going through a massive crisis right now. I am genuinely worried. I used a burner account to text him, but he totally knew it was me and deleted it. Instantly, I called him, but he never answers. I seriously just want to help him out." Saying that, Olivia stared at Mia with desperate, pleading eyes. She hadn't expected Ethan to be so totally ruthless, feeling an unbearable ache in her chest. This morning, Mia just looked at her older sister with pure pity and fury. She frowned and said, "Sister, we were both raised by Grandma. How did our personalities end up turning out so completely different? To be brutally honest, this totally wishy-washy, indecisive behavior of yours, even I find it annoying to watch, and do not even compare yourself to Serena. She is totally out of your league. Ethan is married now, do you understand? Legally speaking, he is Serena's husband, not yours." Olivia's lips actually trembled, her eyes swimming with heavy remorse and regret. Mia could not take it anymore. She patted her older sister's shoulder gently. "The past is in the past. I can see Ethan is really happy now. Just stop bothering him." Olivia's eyes turned bright red and she shrieked in total despair. "Serena has not brought him any happiness at all. I cannot accept this. Just this once, why couldn't he just wait for me?" Mia looked at her sister helplessly. Honestly, if they were not practically sisters, she wouldn't even bother talking to her. Like, what kind of attitude was this? Literal traitor suddenly waking up and running back to chase their ex. Why didn't she cherish him back then? You and I know that being late only leaves you with massive regret, but at the end of the day, Mia still loved her older sister. She sighed. Fine, I will try contacting brother Ethan and see. Hearing this, a spark of pure joy lit up Olivia's eyes. Mia, thank you. Mia glared back. Don't thank me and never ask me to do something like this again. Ethan and I have a solid bond, unlike someone who pulled dirty tricks behind his back to ruin him. Muttering under her breath, she texted Ethan, "Hey, Ethan, are you coming to my grandma's birthday?" But after waiting forever, he's completely ignored it. Mia just shrugged. If it were me, I wouldn't show either. He definitely doesn't want to see your face. Olivia stared hard at her phone screen, eyes completely bloodshot. Then an idea hit her. She ran straight to his company. Meanwhile, you and I can see Ethan reviewing the ledgers when his phone rang. CEO Ethan, Miss Olivia is down in the lobby. She's asking for you. Ethan was dead tired, completely unwilling to deal with her right now. He replied coldly, "Tell her no." Receptionist glanced at Olivia, then pushed. "Sir, she claims she can actually help you solve this current crisis." Ethan let out a dark laugh, ordering the receptionist to hand Olivia the phone. Ethan, as soon as she spoke, her voice was sickly sweet, just like the old days. But honestly, hearing it just made him physically sick. He rubbed his aching temples, suppressing the headache, his tone completely icy. "What do you want?" "No," Olivia pleaded softly, "I can help you handle Hugo's shares. As for the company's ledger crisis, I have connections who can fix it. I hate seeing you struggle like this. Just meet me once, okay? Please, consider this my way of thanking you for everything you did for me over the past 2 years." Her voice dripped with fake affection, but Ethan only found it entirely laughable. He twirled a pen, asking sharply, "How exactly do you plan on helping me?" Olivia sounded serious. "Hugo wants shares, right? I will transfer all my shares in the Winston Corporation straight to him. That way you won't be stuck in a bad spot anymore. As for the ledgers, I already got someone looking into it. For you, we'll have results very soon." Ethan just rubbed his exhausted forehead, his voice absolutely freezing. "Olivia, do you honestly think I'd trust you right now?" Hearing that cold truth, Olivia completely froze, taking forever to respond. "I really just want to help you," he sneered. "No need, I handle my own business. The only reason I even took this call was to remind you I already have a wife." After dropping that bomb, he hung up, giving her zero chance to say another word. Putting his phone down, he lost all focus. He stood up, pacing around the room a few times. Right then, Assistant Luke knocked and walked in, dropping a slice of cake on his desk. Ethan blinked. "What is this?" Assistant Luke smiled. "This is the cake CEO Serena ordered for you. She said if you're in a bad mood, you need something sweet." Once Assistant Luke stepped out, Ethan took the cake box, set it down, snapped a quick photo, and sent it to Serena. She replied instantly. "Feeling any better yet?" He texted back, totally puzzled. "How did you know? Don't tell me you hid a camera in my office." Serena smirked. "Do you believe in telepathy between a husband and wife?" Ethan just sent a laughing face, put his phone down, and finally attacked that cake. Sure enough, his bad mood vanished. The rich, sweet taste of the dessert totally washed away his exhaustion. But you and I both know well that this little piece, just the quiet calm before the real storm, finally hit.